that button. At this time, I will call this regularly scheduled meeting of the Lawton City Council to order. Please stand for the invocation by Tracy Moreland from our Utility Services Department and remain standing for the Pledge of Allegiance. Ticey.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Father, we ask that you come in and have your way in this meeting. God, we ask for peace, wisdom, and insight over everyone in this room. God, we're also asking that you just have your way in the meeting. We thank you for everyone in this room. We thank you for everyone on the panel. God, we ask that you be glorified in everything. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen. Put allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, thank you, Ticey. And call the roll, please.
Hankins. Harris. Chapman. Gill. Hampton. Uyghur. Williams.
Here.
Warren.
Okay, and a quorum's present. We have a presentation, Employee Spotlight Award, Ernest Moorman, Public Works. John.
Good afternoon. Ernest, come on down. So Ernest works in our streets division, and a couple months ago he was on his way to the landfill, and Ernest saw that there was a tire in the road. He got out, he investigated, and then you found a dump truck that had been flipped over on the side of the road. Helped the gentleman, kept him calm until first responders got there. And so, we talk a lot about wanting employees to take initiative and the True North culture statement, but I really believe that this embodies the best of Lawton, which is neighbors helping neighbors. And that's what really makes our community great and, a wonderful place to work, live, and raise a family. So, Ernest, we really appreciate your dedication to your community. Thank you. You have a great day.
All right, thank you, Ernest. And that brings up reports by the Mayor and City Council. And I'll get started by saying we are still in a blood emergency with less than 2 days supply across our state and even reaches into Arkansas and North Texas. It's critical that if you are a blood giver that you consider giving now if you can. If you've never given before, I encourage you to go through the process and give blood. Your community needs you. With that, we'll start with Mr. Warren. Ms. Williams, no? Pastor?
Thank you, Mayor. Mayor, I appreciate our True North compass. And one of the things I appreciate recently is the transparency. I had some constituents that were sharing some concerns they had regarding some of the changes that are taking place out at the lake. And so I did, as their councilman, I called the city. And Mr. Ratliff, I want to thank you for your staff for their promptness in getting back to me, and then in turn answering all my questions. Very satisfactory for when I shared them with my constituents. They were well satisfied with the answers that were given. So again, I don't have my, well, I do have my hat. Job well done.
All right, very good. Thank you, Ms. Chapman.
Yes, the Meadowbrook Hines Neighborhood Watch meeting will be this Monday, and Mayor Booker is our speaker, 7 p.m. on Monday at St. Paul's United Methodist Church on 38th Street.
I do have a special surprise for him. You tell him that. Mr. Harris.
Yeah, I wanted to echo what Councilman Uyghur said. The several calls I've made in the last couple of weeks to staff have been answered very promptly. And I'm very excited to have that kind of cooperation. But I also want to point out, Mr. Pudre, would you stand up back there? Jason had a concert in to the new, our revitalized McMahon Auditorium Saturday night, which was a huge hit. It was not quite standing room only, but it was full. It was a tremendous concert. Good job. I think you're doing great works over there. The new sign is up outside of McMahon Auditorium. Drive by, take a look at it. It doesn't have the power to it yet, but it does. It's a great improvement over what we had. So good things are happening all over town. You'll see the 10 wins for the citizens. We'll be talking about some of that today. And we're making things happen. This council is working hard for you.
Ms. Hankins.
Well, I don't have a medal to give out, but I would like to give a shout out to the water department. Our church that I go to on D Avenue had, we didn't have water. And so the city thought they had it fixed because the main water line out front was fixed, but it was actually from our sidewalk in front of the church. So, I mean, they just went beyond the call of duty to get help because Sunday was coming along and we didn't have any water. So, but we did it with the help of the water department. Everyone was totally responsive. Thank you.
All right, thank you. And I saw the colonel here a little bit ago. Did he have to leave? Okay, all right. Well, I guess we'll have to move on to audience participation. Anyone having an item of business to present to the City Council that does not appear on the agenda, please come forward at this time. Yes, sir. We'll need your name and address, please.
Gary Arnold, 2314 Northwest 76th Street. Here today to talk about an issue that I've recently come to understand as being something that is, possibly going to, sorry, I'm not so prepared today. It's going to be an issue within, the youth of our community that need these services from SCORE. Now, I don't know, there's no direct effort to undermine that program to my knowledge, but from my conversation with Blake Thompson, who's the director of SCORE, there has been an issue within Lawton Public Schools where they are pretty much denying students from approval for entering that program. As somebody who had a lot of issues in my youth, I completely understand the need for a alternative learning education, and I do believe that it is a great benefit to the community. So that might be something the council considers looking into and discussing with the school board. So as far as it goes, I don't think I have any more knowledge on the situation other than they have been cutting back those approvals. So, but I'll be looking into it more. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anybody else that'd like to come forward at this time? Yes, sir, and we'll need your name and address, please.
My name is Joe Solis. I live at 4205 Park Avenue. And I was wondering about our air quality sensing units, our towers around here. We only have one. And I think we kind of need more because we got a whole bunch of people around here that need to worry about the factories that are coming in, the factories that are there, how dangerous they are to our health. So is there a way that we could get some more air quality sensors built up or towers around here?
Not aware that we have air quality sensors. Is anybody else that would like to come forward and speak at this time on an item that is not on the agenda? Seeing none, I will close audience participation and move on to the consent agenda. The following items are considered to be routine by the City Council and will be enacted with one motion. Should discussion be desired on an item, that item will be removed from the consent agenda prior to action and considered separately. Council, do you have any you want to poll?
15.
15? One five? Are you not wanting to pull number 28? Okay, 28 and 15? 28 and 15. Okay. Council, do you have any others you want to poll? Can I get a motion?
Seeing none, I would make a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented with the exception of items number 15 and 28.
Do we have a second?
Second it.
Okay, thank you. And we do have a second. Please vote. Need one more vote. Motion carries 6-0, bringing up item 15. Consider accepting a grant up to $80,000 to the library from the Pretty Foundation to be designated for operational support and authorizing the mayor to sign the contract and any reporting paperwork required. Mr. Warren?
And I guess maybe the manager can answer this question. I don't know. I was just not concerned is really too strong of a word, but I kept reading this and it was talking about this contract that we're entering into, but there's no mention of the contract or what it involves. They're going to give us money if we do something, but it's undisclosed what those things are that we have to do. So I don't know. I was just kind of interested in that.
Councilman Warren, it's a grant. Beyond that, I don't know a lot of the particulars. Kristen our library director is not here right now. We can get her and have her come and make a presentation on this issue, or we could table it to next meeting. But I don't know the specifics of the grant.
Yeah, I would. If it's not time sensitive, I would want to table it to the next meeting. That's a motion to table.
One additional matter. This is a grant that we've entered into before. So I think that a fairly safe assumption is that a lot of the terms and the conditions would be the same. But in the past, the agreement was entered into from the Friends of the Library, not the library itself. So that is a difference this year.
Okay, before you vote, I just noticed that it says if you're agreeable, you need to have somebody sign it before the 17th. So we're already late. Can you put your conditions, can you amend your motion to be conditional that there aren't undue requirements on us?
Yeah, we could do that. We could amend it to say as long as the contract terms are equal to or less than what the previous contract was with Friends of the Library.
Okay, and would you accept that, Mr. Uyghur? Okay, so we've got an amended motion with a second on the floor. Discussion or debate?
So it's to approve then?
we're approving the signage subject to no higher requirements than the previous version, correct? Please vote. Motion carries 6-0. That brings up item 28. Consider approving an amended budget and First Amendment to the funding and limited support agreement between the City of Lawton and the Lawton Youth Sports Trust Authority for FY 23-24 to expand the use of funding, allowing for the lease and/or purchase of real property to be the site of the sports complex. Who's speaking?
I'll speak for a minute, and then I think get Brian to come up. Council, Mayor, and citizens, I really just wanted to say that while this isn't a done deal yet, what we're going to approve today provides the funding that is going to be needed to finally find a home for the youth sports facility. And personally, I'd just like to thank Chairman Henry and Hussein Moni and the entire authority for all the hard work that everybody's done to make this happen. It's been a long and arduous trip. I know for 4 years, Brian, maybe 5 years. This is 5 years in the making. There's a lesson to be learned there. We shouldn't make things this difficult, and I don't know why this has been, but it has. But Brian and Hussein have really done a good job. The other thing I wanted to touch on, and I think Brian will touch on it some more, is that in the time that Eastern Sports Management has been contracted to handle the youth sports and adult sports now, they've moved into that without anybody even having to ask them. They saw the need and moved in and did it. We've had a 51% increase in participation in youth sports. So it's definitely needed. It has been needed for a long time. And the most important thing that we need to talk about is we're begging and borrowing churches and schools and anything big enough to play basketball in, basically, for practice facilities. And that's what this is all about. We've got to get this facility built. And it's imperative that we do that. The need is there. The participants want to participate, and they're just chomping at the bit to make it happen.
Thank you, Mayor, Council. I'm not sure if that's proof of ignorance or determination, Councilman Warren. We'll go with determination since we're to this point. Councilman Warren kind of hit the nail on the head here. We are up 51% in participation from the 12 months prior to Eastern Sports Management taking over to the 12 months prior or after they have taken over. They've now been on the ground for about 18 months. Some of that is growth in the sports that we're used to. We used to run a sport a season, as I called it. What we do now is we run the same sport multiple times throughout the year, which is growing our numbers of participants, but it's also creating havoc in trying to schedule places for the practices and the games to occur. I'd be remiss if I didn't pat Kevin Heim and his group on the back. They partner with us on the facilities at zero cost to the leagues. We have to schedule around their middle school, high school, wrestling, basketball, cheer practice, archery, all of those things that happen in these facilities. Some of the new sports we've added are getting kids involved during the winter months in sports such as futsal, which I'm not a soccer player, but it's a smaller ball, hard court, indoors that the youth and the adult, matter of fact, are playing in what we would normally term off-season. They had games last week. It was 7 degrees outside, right? So that's some of the addition that's happening. When Randy says we are playing on any court large enough, I'll have to correct them there. We're playing on any court. If it's a half a court, teams are practicing on it. Neighboring churches are jumping in and partnering with the teams to allow them to practice there. So while it's a problem, it's a good problem. It's exciting to see. What you have in front of you today is not an additional ask for funds. You approved the budget that's in front of you last April or May. And then in the agreement that we had there, the support agreement, we only had the terminology of design of the facility. We have gone through multiple options on the property to include looking at some potential lease spots, which then would not have needed the language that you see today necessarily. And those are not working out, and we have begun negotiations and are near end of negotiations on buying some real property that not only would fit the indoor sports complex, but provide potential to add assets to the outdoor facilities that we are obviously right knocking on the door of needing. So the change in the support agreement is adding the words design. The design is in there, but it's adding the words lease and or purchase. And if you're asking why I'm asking you to add the word lease, things happen, right? If everything falls apart and a lease comes up, then we have that in the language. McMahon Foundation has supported our project with a $3 million grant. $500,000 of that will be in this fiscal year, both theirs and ours, meaning ours, the cities. And they are allowing up to $350,000 of that $500,000 to go towards the purchase and closing costs of the property as well. So I would be happy to answer any questions you all have.
Mr. Harris. I'm just going to make a motion that we approve this and with the Lawton Youth Sports Trust Authority and the changes within this document.
Have motion for approval as written.
I'd make a second, but can you amend that a little bit? I don't know if we need to make it as part of the motion or not, but can we direct legal to do everything humanly possible to work with the Lawton Youth Sports Authority to make sure that we can do this as seamlessly and fast as we can?
Absolutely.
You accept that amendment, and that's obviously your second since you amended it. Discussion or debate? Please vote. Motion carries 6-0. Brings up item number 31. Consider approving an ordinance amending section 22.21.202, Article 22.2.1, Division 22.2, Chapter 22, Utilities, Lawton City Code 2015, by clarifying the language that every building and structure meant for human occupancy for more than 1 hour during the normal course of business or an existing residential dwelling shall be connected to the public water and shall have an active water account, providing for severability, establishing an effective date, and allowing for floor amendment. Charlotte.
Good afternoon. I brought a version of the city code change back in on December 12th, and there were some questions about some of the language that was in there. So this is the revised version. So instead of saying meant for human habitation, it says meant for human occupancy for more than 1 hour during the normal course of business or an existing residential dwelling. So those places will be required to be connected to water if they're within 200 feet, and then they'll be required to have an active water account if occupied.
Okay, if I remember right, Mr. Gill was the one that had the concern about that, and have you gone over that with him?
I sent it to him after I drafted it, but I never got a response. I sent it to him and Councilman Warren to see if they wanted to meet with the oversight committee with it.
Mr. Warren? You'll have to turn your light off, Ms. Williams. There you go.
It was it was my understanding that it was going to accomplish what he was wanting to accomplish, because he was just wanting to make sure that a warehouse didn't have to have running water.
Okay,
Right.
thank you. Ms. Williams? Ms. Williams?
Is this covering also like, we have squatters?
Yes, yeah, so if we have squatters in the house, if the house doesn't have active water, then it's not considered habitable, so they cannot be in the house.
All right, thank you.
Yes.
Mr. Harris?
Continuing on that line of communication, so will this allow our policemen to evict those people and press charges, or only to move them out of the facility?
So this would allow them to move them out of the facility. The pressing charges, I believe, would still have to come from the property owner.
Okay, and so it says meant for human occupancy for more than, when I'm at my warehouse, I'm often there 3 or 4 hours working on whatever. Now I do have a water account, but for some people that, have their RVs stored down there or whatever, and they're working on it, 1 hour seems to be not enough time to me, and occupancy is a word that sticks to me. I don't know if there's a better word or not. That I'm having a little problem with this, but George isn't here, so I would like to go ahead and make the motion to approve it with the change of changing that from 1 hour to 3 hours.
Okay, we have a motion on the floor to approve this as written with the exception of changing 1 hour to 3 hours. Is there a second? We do have a second. Discussion or debate? Please read your motion was also to read the title of the...
Yes.
Read the title only. Please read the title.
An ordinance amending section 22-2-1-202, article 22-2-1, division 22-2, chapter 22, utilities, Lawton City Code 2015, by clarifying the language that every building and structure meant for human occupancy for more than 2 hours? 3 hours. 3 hours. For more than a 3 hour during the normal course of business or an existing residential dwelling shall be connected to public water and shall have an active water account, providing for severability and establishing an effective date.
Please vote. Motion carries 6-0. And I forgot to announce that we were striking item number 32. Moving us to item number 33. Hold a public hearing and consider an ordinance that amends section 21-1-107, article 21-1, and section 21-8-804, article 21-8 of chapter 21, Lawton City Code 2015, by modifying the definition of knuckle and modifying figure 4.1, providing for severability, establishing an effective date, and allowing for floor amendments. Cameron.
Good afternoon, Mayor, Council. This item is brought to you because of a developer that wanted to develop phase 2 of their subdivision came to us to submit this phase 2 for their plat. And upon review, the Public Utilities Department found that figure 4.1 didn't comply, which was their knuckle dimensions. A knuckle is a cul-de-sac essentially, but it has 2 openings between 80 degrees and 120 degrees. And so if you're familiar with what a knuckle is, this is just going to modify those radiuses from the center line where the 2 streets meet. From right now, our current code has it at 54 feet with the property line, and then 42 feet for the center line for the street curb. We're going to drop it down to 50 feet and 40 feet. This is to be open for business according with the True North culture statement. This was reviewed by our Public Utilities Department, our Public Works, and our fire marshals. And this would allow them to develop as they were planning. That being said, when we sent them back the review comments they were the ones that came back and said, well, we developed phase one with these exact same dimensions. And so we wanted to take a look deeper into code and see why this was originally submitted this way. They said it was because of the fire marshal's requirements for turn radiuses for trucks. So that's why I wanted to make sure that the fire marshals were good with lowering this. They are okay. All their trucks can still operate as is, because we already have subdivisions that are developed with these same dimensions. So this is just a change to the figure 4.1 and also a change to that definition, allowing for an offset of that center line. So
It sure seems true north to me. Thank you for that. Mr. Harris?
I was just going to make a motion to approve.
Wait a minute, we got to have a public hearing. Any other questions before we go to a public hearing? At this time, I'll open the public hearing. Anybody wishing to come forward and speak on this item, please do so at this time. Seeing none, I will close the public hearing. Mr. Harris, you want to make your motion, and this is an ordinance?
Yes, to waive the reading, read the title only.
Okay, we have a motion for approval, waive the reading of the ordinance and read the title only. We have a second by Ms. Chapman. Discussion or debate? Please read the title.
An ordinance amending Section 21.1.107, Article 21.1, Section 21.8.804, Article 21.8, Chapter 21, Lawton City Code 2015, by modifying the definition of knuckle and modifying Figure 4.1, providing for severability and establishing an effective date.
Please vote. Motion carries 6-0. Bringing up item 34. Hold a public hearing and adopt a resolution declaring the structures located at 204 Southwest Park Avenue, 1007 Southwest Monroe Avenue, 1107 Southwest New York Avenue, 1308 Northwest Lincoln Avenue, 1401 Southwest 8th Street, 1410 Southwest 20th Street, 1722 Southwest Washington Avenue, 1738 Southwest 12th Street, 2011 Southwest McKinley Avenue, 2601 Northwest 19th Street, 2809 Southwest J Avenue, to be dilapidated pursuant to Section 651 Lawton City Code, ordering the owner to abate the nuisance, authorizing summary abatement, and authorizing the city attorney to commence legal action in district court to abate the nuisance. And I can't read your name from here.
It's Josh.
Josh.
Yes, sir.
It's all yours.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. At 204 Southwest Park Avenue, it's had inactive utilities since 2017. Right there to the right of the door, you can see some bud rot forming down there. We do have a hole in the roof above the porch, with some more roof damage over here, siding damage, more roof damage, a couple more holes. As you see, there's siding missing right there. Go to the back of the house, you got trim damage, more roof damage, got a hole up there on the top part of that property. And on the other side of the house, some more siding damage. Posted on this property, 1/11/24. As of today, no permits have been pulled on this property. Any questions?
Seeing none, I will open the public hearing. Anyone wishing to come forward and speak about 204 Southwest Park Avenue, please do so at this time. Seeing none, I will close the public hearing. Council?
Mr. Mayor, I move to approve a resolution declaring the structure on the property a dilapidated public nuisance and authorize the abatement thereof as set forth in the resolution.
I have a motion and a second. Discussion or debate? Please vote.
Williams,
Yes.
Warren,
Yes.
Hankins, Harris, Chapman, Uyghur,
Motion carries. Moving us to 1007 Southwest Monroe Avenue. Josh?
1007 Southwest Monroe Avenue, inactive utility since 2019. There's a fire date on this of July 31st, 2023. As you can see, it's got pretty extensive fire damage. No doors, windows on the side of the house as well. Got melted trim and roof damage. We can move to the back side of the house, no doors, windows back there either. More melted trim and trim roof damage. Same thing with this one, just a little better shot of it. This property does have 2 accessory structures on it. This one right here, which is the one that caused the fire to the residents, and the back side of that building right there. And then the other accessory structure, siding damage, doesn't have any windows, doors, or anything in the back side of that structure. Post on this property, 11124, and as of today, no permits have been pulled. Questions?
Seeing none, I will open the public hearing on 1007 Southwest Monroe Avenue. Anyone wishing to speak on this item, please come forward at this time. Seeing none, I will close the public hearing. Council?
Mr. Mayor, I move to approve a resolution declaring the structure on the property structures on the property a dilapidated public nuisance and authorize the abatement thereof as set forth in the
We have a
resolution.
motion and a second. Discussion or debate? Please vote.
Warren. Hankins. Harris. Chapman. Uyghur. Williams.
Yes.
Motion carries. Moving us to 1107 Southwest New York Avenue. Josh?
1107 Southwest New York, inactive utility since 2021, at a fire date of 5/31/23. Same with this one as well, and no active permits have been pulled. You can see a big hole right there above the front door going through the porch. The wider shot right there is pretty much missing the majority of the roof. The side of the property, more fire damage to the top, and a view from the back of the house as well. You can see the roof is gone, no windows, doors. View from inside of the residence, and the other side of the house as well, where the fire ruined the top of there. Posted on this property, 11124. Any questions?
Seeing none, I'll open the public hearing on 1107 Southwest New York Avenue. Anyone wishing to speak on this item, please come forward at this time. Yes, sir. Come on up. Okay, and we need your name and address.
Badaway. My name is Dr.
Badaway.
Cornell Pee-wee Wardy, Vice Chairman of the Comanche Nation,
Vice Chairman, how are you?
Mayor and Council. My question is this a tribal home?
Is this tribal?
I don't remember seeing that it was tribal. I'd have to look into that. If it was tribal,
Typically when it is a property of a sovereign nation, we give them a heads up, a little
Yeah.
bit of a heads up on it.
Okay.
Just out of courtesy.
All right.
Okay?
Thank you.
That doesn't mean that we couldn't miss it, but it certainly wasn't intentional if we did.
Yeah, because I know the various natures of obtaining various properties. That's my question.
And the tribes, Mr. Vice Chairman, typically move on these faster than this one. This one's been considerably out there for a while. The tribes typically move on them pretty fast.
Yeah, well, we have a number of tribes here besides Comanche, so I'm just curious. Thank you so much.
Right. Thank you. Is there anyone else that would like to come forward and speak on this item? Seeing none, I will close the public hearing. Council? Ms. Williams?
Your Honor, your Mayor, move to approve a resolution declaring the structures on the property dilapidated, public nuisance, and authorize the abatement thereof set forth in the resolution.
We have a motion. Do we have a second? We do have a second. Discussion or debate? Please vote.
Hankins. Harris. Chapman. Uyghur. Williams.
Yes.
Warren.
Motion carries. Moving us to 1308 Northwest Lincoln Avenue.
1308
Josh.
Northwest Lincoln, no utilities since 2022. Had a fire date of October 27, 2023. As of today, no permits have been pulled on this property. We see fire damage right here through the front door as well as the front window, trim damage. The roof, holes throughout the roof as well. On the side of the house, more fire damage, no windows to the property. And this is the opposite side of the house as well. Windows, an open crawl space. View inside of the house, pretty bad. Posted on this property 11124. Any questions?
Seeing none, I'll open the public hearing on 1308 Northwest Lincoln Avenue. Anyone wishing to speak on this item, please come forward at this time. Seeing none, I will close the public hearing. Council?
Mr. Mayor, I move to approve a resolution declaring the structure on the property a dilapidated public nuisance and authorize the abatement thereof as set forth in the resolution.
We have a motion and a second. Discussion or debate? Please vote.
Harris.
Yes.
Chapman. Uyghur.
Yes.
Williams.
Yes.
Warren.
Yes.
Hankins.
Motion carries. Moving us to 1401 Southwest 8th Street. Josh?
1401 Southwest 8th Street. There was no utility accounts found on this property. This property does have two separate trailers on there. With this one, we see skirting damage going around, more skirting damage, as well as the siding. We got trim damage. This right here is going to be the second structure on this property. As you see, all the trim damage, skirting damage, a closer shot at that skirting damage, or just not being there in general. The trim up top and the siding, the big hole in the side. Another shot right there of your skirting and lack thereof. And then we have a detached garage as well. You see a hole in the middle of the door. Posted on this property 11124. As of today, no permits have been pulled on this property as well. Questions?
Are you posting for both buildings?
It was posting for the whole properties. It's all one address.
For the whole property, okay. Questions, council? Seeing none, I will open the public hearing on 1401 Southwest 8th Street. Anyone wishing to speak on this item, please come forward at this time. Seeing none, I'll close the public hearing. Council?
Mayor, move to approve a resolution declaring the structures on the property dilapidated, public nuisance, and authorize the abatement thereof as set forth in the resolution.
Is there a second?
Second.
We do have a second. Please, discussion or debate? Please vote.
Chapman. Uyghur.
Yes.
Williams.
Yes.
Warren. Hankins. Harris.
Motion carries. Moving us to 1410 Southwest 20th Street. Josh?
1410 Southwest 20th Street, inactive utility since 2018, the fire date of June 30th, 2021. We've got an extensive fire damage out right here on the front of the house, the charred porch, a view from the inside of the house. As you see, it's missing a good portion of the roof as well. A garage door, halfway missing. The side of the house, we have siding damage, and to the rear of the house, siding damage as well towards the bottom and in the middle. Back of the house right here, as you see, we've got roofing damage, more of that siding damage from the last slide. Posted on this property 11124. No permits have been pulled on this property. Any questions?
Seeing none, I'll open the public hearing on 1410 Southwest 20th Street. Anyone wishing to speak on this item, please come forward at this time. Come on up, please. And we'll need your name and address, ma'am.
My name is Leanne Enderly, 316 Northwest 32nd Street. I have questions about all of these. Looking at them, it looks like they've had fires that's been anywhere from 6 months to 2+ years. Why can't we move faster on these once they've had a fire? Because these are all over the whole town, and I'm for, yeah, if the owner doesn't want to fix them up, and if they didn't have any insurance and they got burnt down, then yeah. But then my next question is who pays for that demolition? Is it out of our taxes? Does the city of Lawton pay for it, or do they hire someone to tear it down? And where do those funds come from? I just want to know the.
Okay, so in January, maybe it was February of 2019, the citizens voted for $3.75 million to be put into a fund to clean the city up of D&D properties. And that's where the money's coming from. The citizens voted to do this program. As to why we can't get to it any faster, that's a great question. We're going to work on getting to it faster. The biggest challenge we've had, ma'am, has been getting contractors to tear them down. We don't tear them down ourselves, we contract it out.
Contract someone else to tear it down.
But
Okay.
we're getting to it. We're going to try to do faster. We're going to do even more in '24. How's that?
Thank you.
Thank you for coming. Anybody else like to come forward and speak on this item? Seeing none, I will close the public hearing. Council?
Move to approve a resolution declaring the structure on the property dilapidated public nuisance and authorize the abatement thereof as set forth in the resolution.
Second.
We do have a motion and a second. Discussion or debate? Please vote.
Uyghur.
Yes.
Williams.
Yes.
Warren. Hankins. Harris. Chapman.
And motion carries, bringing up 1722 Southwest Washington Avenue. Josh.
1722 Southwest Washington Avenue, inactive utilities since 2014. We do have some trim damage on this house, as well as a little bit of roof damage right there. We've got more roof damage, as we see. Kind of comes out there. Give me just a second. Yeah. Right here, we got the carport. We've got damage on the carport on the backside. With the trim. We've got backside and one of the other sides of the house right here. As you see, we've got trim damage, or not trim, but siding damage. And we're just plywood, just covering up both of those sides. Trim damage. Right here we see the trim pulling away. Posted on this property 11124. As of today, no permits have been pulled. Any questions?
Seeing none, I'll open the public hearing on 1722 Southwest Washington Avenue. Anyone wishing to speak on this item, please come forward at this time. Seeing none, I will close the public hearing. Council?
Move to approve a resolution declaring the structure on the property a dilapidated public nuisance and authorize the abatement thereof as set forth in the resolution.
Is there a second? We do have a second. Discussion or debate? Please vote.
Uyghur.
Yes.
Williams.
Yes.
Warren.
Yes.
Hankins. Harris. Chapman.
Motion carries, bringing up 1738 Southwest 12th Street. Josh?
1738 Southwest 12th Street, inactive utilities since 2022, a fire date of August 12, 2023. Right here above the front door, the porch awning, we have melted siding, fire damage. On the side of the house, more siding damage as well as fire damage. Here we got the back side of the house where most of the fire took place. Trim damage, we have a portion of the roof missing as well, as we can see in this picture. And on the other side of the house, just more siding damage on top and bottom. Posted on this property, 11124. As of today, no permits have been pulled on this property. Any questions?
Seeing none, I will open the public hearing on 1738 Southwest 12th Street. Anyone wishing to speak on this item, please come forward at this time. Seeing none, I will close the public hearing. Council?
Move to approve a resolution declaring the structure on the property a dilapidated public nuisance and authorize the abatement thereof is set forth in the resolution.
I have a motion and a second. Discussion or debate? Please vote.
Weiger. Williams.
Yes.
Warren.
Yes.
Hankins. Harris. Chapman.
Motion carries, and that brings up 2011 Southwest McKinley Avenue. Josh?
2011 Southwest McKinley Avenue, inactive utilities since 2023, with a fire date of April 26, 2023. As of today, no permits have been pulled on this property. You see, we have no windows on this property. Siding messed up, and we have damaged trim on the side of this house, more siding damage. Moving towards the back of the house, with boards falling down with siding damage, as well as fire damage more towards the back. More siding damage, just almost completely gone. And on the other side of the house, we've got more siding damage as well as fire damage. Posted on this property 111 of 24. Any questions?
Seeing none, I'll open the public hearing on 2011 Southwest McKinley Avenue. Anyone wishing to speak on this item, please come forward at this time. Seeing none, I will close the public hearing. Council?
Move to approve a resolution declaring the structure on the property a dilapidated public nuisance and authorize the abatement thereof as set forth in the resolution.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Discussion or debate? Please vote.
Williams.
Yes.
Warren. Hankins. Harris. Chapman. Weiger.
Motion carries, bringing up 2601 Northwest 19th Street. Josh?
2601 Northwest 19th Street, inactive utilities since 2022. As of today, no permits have been pulled for this property. We have some trim damage and, boarded up windows. More trim damage on the other side of the house. Every window and door on this property has been boarded up. There's pillars outside of the front of the house, a little damage on that. Yeah, we have an accessory or detached garage, which has a lot of siding damage as well as roof damage to this garage as well. Post on this property 11124. Any questions?
Seeing none, I'll open the public hearing on 2601 Northwest 19th Street. Anyone wishing to speak on this item, please come forward at this time. Seeing none, I'll close public hearing. Council?
Mr. Mayor, I move to authorize a resolution declaring the structures on the property a dilapidated public nuisance and authorize the abatement thereof as set forth in the resolution.
We have a motion. Is there a second? We do have a second. Discussion or debate? Please vote.
Warren.
Yes.
Hankins. Harris. Chapman. Weiger.
Yes.
Williams.
Yes.
Motion carries, bringing up 2809 Southwest J Avenue. Josh?
2809 Southwest J Avenue. Couldn't find a water account for this residence. As you see, the roof has caved in on this property. Let's closer look at that. Some trim damage and in the back of the property as well as a hole in the roof. Open crawl space and a hole in the siding. This is actually an accessory structure that's in the backyard. Can't see it too much with these trees, but there is also holes in this roof as well. A view from the other side of the property. We posted on this property 111 of 24. As of today, no permits have been pulled on this property. Any questions?
Seeing none, I'll open the public hearing on 2809 Southwest J Avenue. Anyone wishing to speak on this item, please come forward at this time. Brandon, just step up there and give us your name and address.
Brandon Hardigree, 2811 Southwest J Avenue and 2815 Southwest J Avenue. Since that picture was taken, I've had a lot of work done and assessment done. If you guys would like to see these pictures of what I've done, as you can see, they're scaffolding. They're about a month behind. I just got over an illness, so would y'all like to see where I'm at on this process to figure out where I want to be
Yeah,
on my
why don't you
permits?
pass out your pictures, okay?
Yes.
It's mostly, let's see, whose ward is this in? It's Allen's? Okay.
Brandon, have you drawn permits yet?
That is what I'm on my second dumpster. I was seeing where I'm at, and I see it is savable, so I will start pulling up permits. I have to see where my personal finances are, possibly go with my...
Okay, Brandon, you do understand the process, as I explained to you earlier. If the council goes ahead and puts this on the D&D list, you have 6 weeks, that's 30 business days, 6 weeks to pull a permit.
What permit do you want?
Well, what do you call it? A demo remodel permit? What do you call it?
That's correct. Because I've noticed, though, there's no roofing permit, so that's all I've touched is the roofing so far. I have, the siding is actually I've repaired quite a few people's family members, like little punch holes and stuff. I was a painter for 20 years and an electrician in this town. Those are very easy fixes. And what I was looking at was for severe water damage in the rafters and structural integrity of the house, and there is none.
Okay, Brandon, I noticed that it said no account. They couldn't find where you'd ever had water on there. We know it had to be on at some time. When was the
I'm
last
pretty
time you
sure.
had utilities to that?
Probably about 2021. I don't know why you can't pull the account up. I know I was having problems about 2 years ago because I own the house right next door, and I do use my water and electric there too. So they've had problems with my account ever since we went through 3 different companies on the water billing. Even pulling my account up, I'd have to call or come down here to pay my account, and they just fixed that about 3 months ago.
Okay.
So I don't know why it's not pulling up no account.
Okay, you guys had no record of an account? There had to be an account at some time.
When we did this, I looked up for the city lot and water accounts and was unable to find anything on this property.
I'll say I've lived here for 20 years, and I bought it when I was 25. I'm now turning 39. This is my family homestead, and I do want to save it. This isn't just a structure and investment property for me.
You've done some work since then. You've taken the roof off, is
Yes,
that
sir.
right? This is really going to work out good, even if they put it on the D&D, Brandon, because you want what we want. We want it livable.
And I've got more receipts of my dumpsters and things
Okay.
I bought, and if y'all want to see these. And I can show you about around the neighborhood, some other structures that are pretty much in worse condition that I didn't see up here today. So if we want to pass this one around.
Okay, what we usually do is talk about the one that we're talking about, and we usually don't talk about others. They end up here at some point too. All right, now, does anybody have any questions for Brandon? All right, Brandon, is there anyone else that wants to come forward and speak on this item? Did you have a question for Brandon? Yes. Okay, go ahead. Ma'am, it'll be just a second, okay?
How long have you owned it, Brandon?
Since I was 25, I'm now turning 39, so we're
Okay.
going on.
How long's it been uninhabitable?
I got sick about 2.5 years ago.
Okay.
And that's when I had to completely just move out because I was in the hospital in and out, and I just now got some
Okay.
medications that I'm back on my feet.
I just want to say, when you get this done, I want you to bring pictures back because I'll be very impressed. So,
I've done a lot more with a lot less. for a
so
lot
well,
of
that's
people.
awesome. Like the mayor said, we're with you. So,
Okay, if you'll have a seat, Brandon, we'll
sir.
let this young lady speak. Minnie Mouse. Yes, ma'am, we'll need your name and address.
My name is Kaysa Whitley. I'm at 7902 Northwest Echo, and I guess I'm just wondering how exactly you guys got these properties on this list that you have and why it seems like you're fast-tracking permits for them, but not people who are actually putting money into it.
I don't understand the question, how they got on the list. We basically take complaints from the public as well as drive around ourselves and compile the list, address as many per month as we can. Now, I don't understand your comment about fast tracking.
Yeah, like it seems like all of the properties so far, it's just been pushed through, but then when he was like having actual concerns, like you're still pushing to put it on the list, you're giving him 6 weeks.
So I'm
like-
pretty sure that we haven't had people come and asking more questions. They would have gotten more
Right,
time.
but that's not what I'm asking. Why is it that he's only giving 6 weeks and that you're still pushing for it to be put on the
Everybody
list?
the rules apply to everybody evenly. When we make a motion, we don't always say that, but that's the rule. If somebody shows up, the rules apply to everybody evenly. There's no favoritism for anybody.
Like, it's not about favoritism, it's about the fact that you're taking his property and trying to put it on a list that I guess is going to give it to the city or something? And you're only giving us
No, the
6 weeks
city
to do
doesn't
so?
end
Like,
up with
I
it.
guess
The
that's what
city's
I'm not-
controlling public health,
Yeah.
ma'am. Just a minute.
I'm just not understanding, I guess, what
Okay.
the
Just a minute.
DOD is.
Just a minute. The city isn't taking ownership of anybody's property. We are protecting the public health and safety, okay? And that is our right as a government entity given us the power by the state of Oklahoma under the municipal code of the state of Oklahoma. Now, we treat everybody the same. Everybody has the same rules. Do you have any other questions?
Yeah, I guess I'm just wondering what exactly the list is that he's putting in. I think it was called the DOD.
So I tell you what we need to do. We need to get her with an attorney to explain the process to you, okay?
Sure. If
Thank
that's
you.
how you'd like to
Thank
proceed.
you. If you'll give it to the city manager, he'll give you a name that you can contact. Is there anybody else that would like to come forward and speak on this item? Seeing none, I will close the public hearing. Council?
I move to continue the public hearing on this matter to, I'm going to say the second meeting in March. Brandon, that'll give you some time to make progress and get a permit pulled. If you don't, you're going to be back on the list.
Hold on just a minute.
Motion to table?
Okay. Let me close the public hearing.
Yes, sir.
We're going to close the public hearing, and you're going to table till March, the second meeting in March. Do we have a second on that motion? Okay, we're tabling to the second meeting of March. We have a second. Discussion or debate? Please vote.
Hankins. Harris. Chapman. Uyghur. Williams.
Yes.
Warren.
Okay, motion carries, and so that's tabled till the second meeting in March, okay? And that brings up item number 35. Consider approving a resolution amending the City of Lawton FY 23-24 budget as amended by appropriating $1 million from Hotel Tax Fund to FISTA for an economic development incentive to R4 Technologies, and $1,103,128.73 for FISTA operations and insurance, $1,525,350 to the Parks CIP project for the purpose of parks improvements as approved during the November 4, 2023 City Council meeting. $1 million to pay industrial development incentive from the Economic Development Project of the CIP, and $235,501 for youth programs recommended by the Youth and Family Affairs Committee. Joe Don.
Yes, sir, Council. These are all projects that have either been approved by City Council in previous meetings or have at least been talked about. All this is a pretty routine budget amendment. We're just appropriating the funds so they can be paid.
I've got a question for you.
Yes, sir.
You've got $1 million listed in here twice. One properly refers to the hotel motel tax fund to the FISTA for R4. And the other one just says $1 million to pay industrial development incentive from the economic development project of the CIP fund.
That's getting the $1 million that should the council vote to,
I know where it is now.
Okay.
Yeah, I got it. Any other questions? Do I have a motion? Yes, ma'am.
This is money that's already in the budget?
No, ma'am, this money is not in the budget. We are allocating this money to the budget so that it can be paid.
Okay, I guess my question is, it's not additional money coming from the taxpayers here? I guess
No, ma'am,
that's
it's
my
not
question.
additional money coming from the taxpayers,
Okay.
no.
Just wanted to get that clear
Yeah.
for the citizens. All
Right.
right, thank you.
Do I have a motion? Motion for approval, is there a second? We do have a second, discussion or debate? Please vote. Motion carries 6-0. Item number 36, receive a report from the Animal Welfare Division regarding departmental operations and take action as deemed necessary. Roy.
Good afternoon, Mr. Mayor, City Council. Our state of the shelter, this is for 2023, the calendar year 2023. I think I'm doing this right, maybe not. There we go. Staffing is still consistent with what we've had in the past. A superintendent, an administrative assistant, and a 2 and a 1 in the office. Kennel supervisor, 2 animal care technicians, and the addition now of 2 part-time kennel assistants this last year. A veterinarian and a veterinarian assistant in the surgery suite, and field staff was the field supervisor and 4 animal welfare officers. Total intakes for 2023, dogs were 2,818, cats 1,246, adoptions 629, cats 301. Owner claims, this is return to owner, whether in the field or through the shelter itself. Dogs was 440, cats were 22. Rescue pools, these are the Humane Society rescue groups that come in and pull animals that maybe have been on adoption roll for a period of time and nobody's looking at them, or there's something going on with the animal medically wise, we'll send them out to rescue that way. Dogs were 191, cats were 99. Our ongoing projects, GH2 Architects and the feasibility study, we met with them yesterday, looking at locations. We've kind of scrapped some that we were thinking. We're looking at some other alternatives. The Friends of Lawton Animal Welfare, that's our friends group. It's getting some traction thanks to Caitlin Gatlin. She came on board with us, and it's really making a difference. New animal cages. A lot of the cages that we've got for the cats especially are 25 plus years old. They're a cage, not a, they're not conducive to prevent bacterial transfer, animals getting sick. And then upgrades to the animal shelter management system. We're looking at emails to notify individuals that their license is expired or that their contract, if they don't have a vaccination or a license or a sterilization, if they have to comply with an agreement, an email that gets sent out in addition to the letter, if possible. And then the achievements, our Lawton Animal Welfare website, again, thanks to Caitlin Gatlin, she was spearheading that. Furry Friend Friday, that's ongoing, and that's really a big plus. We had a line of people lined up at the shelter last Saturday for the dog that we had on Furry Friend Friday. Credit card machine came into play in November of last year. It's really been a big plus. We've had days where there was no money transfer at all. Our barn cat program's still a success. That's the feral cats that we get brought in, whether we pick them up or an individual brings them in. They get sterilized, they get vaccinated, and they go outside the city to a barn. Farmers, individuals that have 5 or 10 acres, they want some cats that can take care of the rodent problems. And then back to the city license letters, that was put into play 9 months ago. That's been a big hit for us anyway. Challenges faced, animal intakes and outcome. It's still a problem that we have, and it's not just Lawton, it's all across the state and all across the nation. Shelters and rescues are full, staffing, having people come on board that can stay and do what needs to be done, and training. Again, staffing comes on, they leave, you got to train a new person. Our comparisons with peer cities, this is a staffing that we have versus the others. I didn't get a response back from Enid on their staffing. I do know that they are more like Midwest City. They don't have as many animal welfare officers, office staff, kennel techs, things like that. And then our numbers, our intake, adoptions, owner claims, rescue pools versus everybody else. These are the big issue for us and for everybody. And a question was posed recently about why was Norman so much less than Lawton. Norman has municipalities all around them, Noble, Slaughterville, Oklahoma City, Moore. They don't take any animals from outside of their city. If somebody shows up, they send them away. So that's a big thing for them. They do have, for owner surrenders, they put you on a list. If you need to surrender your animal for whatever reason, they'll put you on a list, and when they have room, then they will call you to come in and surrender that animal. Managed intake, and it's a big push, and that, again, that's all across the nation, all across the shelters and the rescues. Managed intake, so that you don't overload what you have. We have 65 pens for dogs, 47, I believe, for cats. And in May of last year, we brought in 337 dogs. We take them as they come in. And some of those were puppies, but litters. So that does have a difference. But managed intake is going to be our best bet. Recommendations, to change the existing code to add procedures for scheduled relinquishment, the owner surrenders, the owner surrender list, managed intake. Restrict intake to not accept animals brought from outside the city limits of Lawton, or charge a fee for an animal. So that, right now, we charge a fee. It's $17.25 for someone that lives outside the city to surrender their animal, $17.25 plus a $5.75 admin fee. So you're looking at $24. That fee probably should be raised, in my opinion, or we cut them off completely. We're not going to be able to cut them off completely. They're going to show up, they're going to tell us that it came from Walmart or wherever. So we can stop some of it, but we won't be able to stop all of it. That's the recommendations that we have at this time for the managed intake. Any questions?
Mr. Harris?
Yes, sir. Roy, what is a rescue pool?
Like the Humane Society, they're no-kill. They have fosters that take care of the animals. They'll come to the shelter and they will pull an animal from Lawton Animal Welfare or any other shelter, and it goes to this rescue, Southwest Oklahoma Animal Network, Oklahoma German Shepherd. There's rescues for every breed.
And they'll find good homes for them.
They keep them until they find them a home. Then they can come back and get some more from us.
Okay. And so do you think there's a level for the fee that we charge for drop-offs that at some point in time they'll just stop 2 blocks south and drop the dog off?
That's a possibility.
Do you have an idea on where that?
What
are you wanting to raise the fee to, I guess?
To make it more manageable for the city. And I mean, I'd have to go back and look at everything dollars-wise, but I'm thinking, I mean, $100, that still won't cover the animal if it's adoptable. So, I mean, that's another thing. Depending on the animal coming in, depends on what we're going to do with it. If it's an adoptable animal. If it's not an adoptable animal, then of course we're not going to put it back up for adoption, so it'll be euthanized.
And
Okay.
Councilman Harris, I would just add that Roy was able to discover as doing the research for this project that a lot of communities use that fee as a deterrent to owner surrendered animals. So $24 isn't much of a deterrent. So, and some of these communities point blank said that. So that's kind of the thought process there, as well as, you know, having the relinquishment list, which makes a lot of sense because on owner surrenders, you give an individual a little bit of time. You don't take the animal right away. And what Roy was able to figure out, at least with respect to Norman, they put people on a relinquishment list. When they finally had space, you know, several weeks later, they would often contact them, and they'd made some other arrangement with the animal. They'd given it to somebody else or given it to a family member. And so I think that makes a lot of sense, especially given that we're overcrowded and we take the animals no matter what. And that's not what other animal shelters are doing in this state.
So you're confident you have a good plan?
Pardon me?
You're confident you have a good plan going forward for handling relinquished animals?
I'm sorry, I still...
You're confident going forward that you have a good plan for handling the relinquished animals?
Yes, we had 506 owner surrender dogs in 2023. That's 42 animals a month. And so you're looking at probably, what, 1.5 a day. And when you take that 1.5 and multiply it by the days, the length of stay, you're taking 20 dogs out of that shelter. And if none of them came in, you're taking 20 dogs out of our shelter, and it's way more manageable. We'll still, when we have that room, we'll contact the owner back to have them bring that animal in. But like I had discovered is a lot of times, you know, 2 weeks later, you found another family member or someone else to get the dog to.
So you'll bring us back a report on what that fee should be?
Yes, I can do that.
Thank you, sir.
Did you have a question, Ms. Chapman? No? Does anybody else have questions? Okay, I've got a few. The city license letters, what was that? I'm not familiar with that.
The city license?
Yeah, go back a few. It was one of the things, maybe I misread it. You said it had been real
the letter,
popular.
the city license letter. So when your animal, the license is good for the length of the rabies vaccination. So if it's a year-long rabies vaccination, your license is good for a year. Now you have to bring that vaccination certificate back, updated, and it renews the license for another year. Or it could be a 3-year vaccine, but it's for the length of the rabies vaccination. So that letter was to notify these people that their license is expired. We did get a lot of responses back from that, some good, some bad. But overall, it was good. You know, they tell us they had no idea, and you know, they're glad to get it renewed. So.
Okay, that sounds good. I remember when I used to get notified my driver's license was going out, I didn't let it go out. Now they just goes out and you get caught. How do our license requirements compare to our peer cities?
That's, Norman doesn't have one. I don't believe Oklahoma City does. They're not one of our peer cities. There's a lot that don't, but Edmond doesn't, Moore doesn't.
None of them have license requirements. Can you go back one slide or two? Well, I'll tell you where to stop. That one right there, go back. That one with all the numbers on it. Go forward.
Too far?
Next one. One more. That one right there. Now, what I noticed, I appreciate what you said about Norman. I'm not sure I agree with that assessment, but look at Enid, which is 30% less than us if you take Fort Sill off. Okay?
Enid is more country, more like we are.
And so if you added 30% to that, you'd be at about 2,000. We still have 40% more canine intake than they do, 40%. And I'm not sure we're trying to solve the right problem. What is the problem you're trying to solve? What question are you trying to answer with these changes?
Why are we getting so many more than everybody else?
And you think those things are going to change that?
This could be the first step in that right direction.
Okay, I'm willing to give it a try, and I appreciate you going through it. I'm real concerned that these numbers are so big in Lawton, and I feel like something's out of place. I don't know if have we compared ordinances that other cities have?
We did a comparison
Yes, we
6 months
did
ago.
we did a model comparison. OML sent out a model animal code, and our animal code, in all substantive ways, we amended it to mirror that model code that was sent out. So yeah, we just amended our entire chapter.
So we've amended our entire chapter to mirror OML's model code.
Correct.
Okay, I appreciate that. How does that compare to these cities that have so many fewer intakes than we have? Do they have the model code? Do they have this model code?
We don't know that. I don't think that was a question that Roy asked, but what we have been able to clearly ascertain is that all of our Pier 5 cities have different standards on intake than we do. There's all of the Pier 5 have limitations on the animals that they will take, and when, in some instances, Norman being one of them, when they are full, they don't accept any more animals, or they tell you up front, if we accept it, we're going to euthanize it because we don't have space for it. So I'm supportive of Roy's initiative here, which is to propose some ordinance changes to amend our intake procedures, because that is really what we've identified as kind of the center of gravity in terms of this problem that we have. Now, I understand what you're saying, that the numbers are so high, you're not convinced that, owner relinquishment is really going to bring it down that much. I think it's certainly worth a shot to do this, and I am convinced that it's going to come down some. So I would just add that for your consideration.
So I think it's very multifaceted, and I don't think there's a silver bullet. And while I think that's one of the pieces, one of the facets, and will make some difference, I question whether it's the biggest difference. But we'll see. We'll see. Now, when somebody comes in to relinquish a dog and you say, well, we're full, and so we're not going to take your dog.
We're going to create a list, and we'll take your name, address, and phone number and put your name on that list. And once we have room the next day or whenever it may be, then we'll contact you back to have you bring that animal in.
And I guess that keeps them from, what I heard Mr. Harris say earlier, from going 2 blocks and dumping them out, since you won't take them.
I hope.
Okay, I'm willing to try anything, because something's wrong. When I look at these numbers, something's wrong. So I'm willing to try anything. And I look forward to seeing the results. Can you tell me when you're coming back with a report to let us know how this is working?
I should be able to have it back on for the next meeting.
Mayor, we can bring back an ordinance at the next meeting, but before we could report, it's going to be 30 days before it's effective, so it'll be a few months before we'll have any data.
So maybe 120 days to give you 90 days of tracking? Okay, Don Lynn, let's put that on an agenda for 120 days from the next meeting. Does that sound good? Okay, thank you. Any other questions? Is this an action item, or you just?
Well, it says take action as necessary.
Okay.
Mayor, I just have.
I'm sorry. Yes.
Just one quick comment, really. Man, this is almost a prairie dog deal. I've been through this. I can't tell you how many times. And the reality of the situation is there's 2 realities. One is there's too many animals. That's the basic problem. There's too many animals that don't have I'll use the word loving home, but there's a lot of reasons they're out roaming the streets. You can look at anytime we have a storm, the numbers go up. They come down a little bit when people come and retrieve their animals. They don't come down as much as they went up, though. And that's because people don't care. They've got fences out there that aren't mended. They've got gates that don't close all the way. And so it's multifaceted. One thing is not going to fix it. But if we look at different avenues and attack all those avenues at the same time, fencing and things like that we should be looking at as far as, neighborhood services can look at fencing as far as whether it's dilapidated or not. We've got to, if we don't have ordinances that cover that, then we need to have those. I mean, it's no different than if you've got a swimming pool, you've got to keep that fence up. If you've got a dog, you should have to keep that fence up because you not keeping that fence up is costing all of us money. And so I think there's multiple ways that we can attack the problem. One of them is spay and neuter. We've really got to do more and more. I mean, we do a lot, but we've got to do more and more to convince people to spay and neuter their animals. But until we use a shotgun approach and try to attack a bunch of these problems all at once, we're gonna move the problem, kind of like the mayor was talking about, because I can see that happening. We turn people away, and there's a percentage of them that are going to go 2 blocks and dump that animal out. So for that percentage, we haven't accomplished anything. So I think our best option is to not concentrate our efforts in one area. I think we need to look at maybe 3 or 4 different areas and concentrate on those, and maybe we can take a bigger bite out of the apple. Just a thought.
Well, Councilman Warren, if I may, I'd like to respond to that. So I agree. It is a multifaceted problem, but we've looked at this issue pretty extensively, and this is the intake piece of this we feel like is the most critical to address right now. So not to say that there aren't other things that we can do. Certainly we've had the discussion about enforcement. We have an issue with our animal control officer numbers, so that limits our ability to impact enforcement right now. So given all of what we've learned and what we're seeing other communities do, this is the area where we think that we can make the most difference right now.
By the way, I liked that fence idea. I think that's a good idea. If not for dogs, just for the looks of our city, I think it's something we need to look at. Other comments or questions? We're good? All right, thank you, Roy.
Thank you.
That brings up item number 37. Consider approving an ordinance, including any floor amendments pertaining to general provisions, amending section 11120, article 11, chapter 1, Lawton City Code.
Mayor, I'm sorry. Was council going to give direction to staff on that last agenda item?
Well, were they asking direction, or was he just giving a report?
It was a report and take appropriate action as council deems necessary.
I'll make a motion that we move forward with staff's recommendation.
Second.
Okay. On item 36, we have a motion to accept to move forward on staff's recommendation. We have a second. Is that your motion? Discussion or debate? Please vote. Motion carries 6-0. Bringing up item 37. Consider approving an ordinance, including any floor amendments pertaining to general provisions, amending section 11120, article 11, chapter 1, Lawton City Code 2015, by retitling the section to include city logos and establishing that the City of Lawton trademarked images require approval for external use, providing for severability and establishing an effective date. Caitlin.
Mayor, Council, the city has secured trademarks through the U.S. Patent and Trademark Office for specific department logos. That includes our City of Lawton Bison logo, the Lawton Public Libraries logo, and Lawton Fire. So what this means that anybody not affiliated with the City of Lawton wishing to utilize these logos would have to come before council for approval by resolution, unless council decides to authorize the city manager to make those decisions as our community partners request our logo usage. I think it's incredibly important that we protect our identity, just the integrity of who we are for the logos that we have, and this is just safeguarding that image that we have.
Just wondered if, is the seal included, or was that already done prior?
The seal should already...
No, we tried to trademark the seal, but because it was a municipal seal, that is a class of exemptions at the for trademarks. So we couldn't trademark that.
Well, I appreciate the staff doing this because it's very important. I see this happen a lot. It's gotten really easy for people to cut and paste. And so you see that a lot on different, you see Channel 7's logo on somebody's Facebook page, you know, and then you have to decide, well, is that really something that KSWO is doing, or is that something? And so it's really important to do this, and we need to really make sure that we keep an eye on it and not let people get away with using it.
And as Caitlin was stating, Councilman Warren, the best kind of attribute for that is if somebody's using our marks in a way that we don't want them used or want them portrayed, since they're trademarks, we can tell them to stop. So that's the benefit of trademarking these logos and emblems.
Do I have a motion?
Good job. Move to, are we approving the use?
Yeah, you're approving and waiving the reading of the ordinance and read the title only.
Move to approve the ordinance, read the title only.
Is there a second? Is there discussion or debate? Please read the title.
An ordinance pertaining to general provisions amending section 11120, article 11, chapter 1, Lawton City Code 2015 by retitling the section to include city logos and establishing that the city of Lawton trademarked images require approval for external use, providing severability, and establishing an effective date.
Please vote. Motion carries 6-0. We're going to take a short break. 1 minute. Okay, we're back in session. Mr. Uyghur? Mr. Harris? Ms. Williams? Okay, we're going to need Mr. Harris for this next one, so it looks like we're going to have to wait just a minute. All right, well, we got a quorum. We're going to go ahead and start. Number 38, per the recommendation of the Streets and Bridges Committee, consider amending the on-target, on-time milling and overlay project on Highway 62 to go from Northwest 79th Street to the ODOT maintenance transition spot. Chris, you want to come out and talk? Chris and Brent.
Good afternoon,
And
Mayor. Council
Sneha is going to join them too.
Oh, and Sneha. Okay.
So the recommendation initially was to terminate that segment at 79th Street. We thought it'd be better to extend the limits from 79th to 82nd. Basically, just take advantage of economies of scale. The contractors there, the limits of work are about the same. So we wanted to include that in this list.
Okay, and so we need a motion to add this extension to the list of streets.
Mr. Mayor, I think you need to correct yourself. We're extending it to 79th. It was stopping at 82nd. You got that backwards.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, correct.
Okay, so that being said, I move to approve an amended 30 wins for the citizens list, including adding an extension from Highway US 62 from 82nd Street to 79th Street, and to further move to solicit bids for the final 30 projects for this on time and on
Okay, I
target.
think that's coming up on the next agenda item.
Oh, I'm sorry.
So you're moving to accept the staff recommendation here, right?
Because that's from 79th to the ODOT maintenance transition spot.
Okay, what that's saying, it's on the list from the ODOT transition spot to 82nd. It will now be from the ODOT transition spot to
79th.
79th.
Yes, sir.
Right. That's your motion? Yes. And where's the second? Got a second right here, discussion or debate? Please vote. Motion carries 6-0. Bringing up item 39, stay where you're at. Per the recommendation of the Streets and Bridges Committee, consider directing staff to initiate the bidding process for King Road and items 11 through 40 on the on-target, on-time street project list. Chris?
Yes, sir. As previous city council meetings, we have, city council had approved 30 streets along with King Road. Believe that do you have the engineer's estimate for King Road?
I don't know if I've brought that with me. I don't think I got it, Chris.
No.
No, because this is just mine.
We have the engineer's estimate for the 30 road segments. I believe we're sitting right around $10 million for the combined 30 roads. I cannot recall memory, doesn't prevent me from remembering what we had for the King Road. We had 3 different packets for King Road, depending on how it was broken down. So we had a series of numbers that we had produced based on the scale and the scope of the work.
So I thought we were waiting on King Road. Yes. Okay, we are. Now, what about 25th Street, John?
So we discussed 25th Street at the Streets and Bridges Committee last week. The committee's unanimous recommendation 3-0 was to add that to the list. And EST still has to go out there and study what exactly the needs are and how much this particular segment is going to cost. But given some of the background and the history here, the committee felt it was important to push this project forward.
So, hold on just a minute.
So that could be a problem.
25th Street. Is it 25th? What's 25th? So what do we do about that? There's nothing on here about adding that. Does that qualify under our official disclaimer on the first page?
So,
John?
I believe it does because we don't have a firm fixed price yet for what it's going to cost. EST has to go out there and bring that information back. All we're really doing by adding it is just placing it on the list and putting it, and prioritizing it. That's all we're really doing.
Okay, so it just needs to be on the list. It's not, we're fixing to have a motion to go out for bid on 11 through 40.
Right. It's not going to, we're not ready to do that yet for 25th Street.
Okay.
Mr. Mayor.
Yes.
And speaking with the other members of the committee who are not here today, I think the decision was to leave 25th Street off at this point in time. We'll come back and address that later. But we do have 30 good projects to go forward with.
Okay, and I think that you can bring that back at the next meeting and we'll add it to the list. It is an important one, and we have a little egg on our face on that one that we need to correct. So I would like to see it, but I don't want to hold this up. And so we're not starting the bidding on King Road, right? Okay. All right, so you want to make a motion on 11 through 40?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I move to solicit bids for the final 30 projects for this on-time and on-target plan to improve the city's infrastructure, bringing the total wins for the citizens to 40, and that, Mr. Mayor, is even more in 24.
Even more in 24. Do we have a second?
No, I had
Okay, we got to see if there's a second before. We do have a second. Now, hold on a minute. I got to log your ANSI here.
Well, I'm just saying, Mr. Williams had a question.
Oh, okay. Now you can ask your question.
Yes, I had a question. I thought I had seen something about Sheridan Road, Lee to Sheridan before.
That is correct, ma'am, but that is actually not part of this program. That's actually a separate program that the city has. That's a complete redesign for reconstruction. That will not be-
Reconstruction, okay.
Reconstruction, yes, ma'am. This is preventative maintenance, mill and overlay type
Overlay,
operations.
okay.
Yes, ma'am.
I'm clear. Thank you.
Okay, Mr. Warren.
I just wanted to be clear because you're leaving King Road completely off the list, right? Completely off the list.
Off of the bid.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure that we were, because we were using two numbers, 10 and 40, and King Road's not included in any of those two numbers.
Right.
Okay, I just want to make sure.
Okay. Does everybody understand what they're voting for? Did you want to say something, Mr. Harris?
No, I think we're with it.
Okay. We're going on number 11 through 40. Discussion or debate? Please vote. Motion carries 6-0, even more in 24.
Yes, sir.
Can you believe in 1 year we will do 40 overlays in our city? That's some kind of wonderful.
That's very impressive, sir.
Yeah, all right. Thank you. By the way, I will mention that somewhere in the illness that we've got going on, the Sheridan Road deal has not been taken back to the committee for engineering approval that I'm aware of. And so that needs to be initiated, okay? And moving us on to staff reports. Thank you, guys.
Thank you, sir.
Number 40, provide City Council with an update on the FY 2022 and FY 2023 audit process. Joe Don.
Okay, councilmen and women, I've provided you with a written report that was attached to your agenda for the ending January 17th. As far as the 22 audit is concerned, consultants are still working on that. Since I wrote the report, they have finished up their beginning fund balancing that they needed to do, and they have moved on to booking all of the transfers and things like that needed to happen. During 22, there were several funds that needed to be closed when we transferred over to the new system, so they're making sure all of those entries and all of that money tracks the way it should have tracked. As far as the 2023 audit is concerned, in the main bank, which is the biggest reconciliation point and the biggest workload for the audit, we since the last report, staff's reconciled 6,997 checks, 970 electronic funds transfers. We're still processing and reconciling utility billing. This would include reconciling cashier's batches, cash receipt entry, ACH receipts, our third-party reports that we get, and any NSF items that we may have out there. Our utility billing schedules have been calculated, so we know the dollar amount that needs to be booked in 2023 that was not billed until 2024. So we've got that calculated and ready to move forward with and submit to the auditors. As of this report, we were still waiting on a few of our capital asset forms to make sure we had everything, all of our assets capitalized that we purchased in 2023. The debt and the transfers have been reconciled and up to date, and it's sent to the consultants. We're working on our compensated absences to see what was used in 2023 but not paid until 2024. We have to book those entries in. And then we also have to calculate out what we would still owe for compensated absences should everybody decide to take a vacation at the exact same time. We're still working on reconciling out our grants. The home CDBG grants are our two largest, and those are the ones we're working on. We have about 80 other grants that we're trying to get reconciled out, but are much smaller and won't take as much time. And staff is updating for the component units, staff is updating the bank letters and running required reports, which can be turned over to the component units auditors so they can complete the audits on those indiscreetly presented units. That'd be my report, Mayor.
So those guys that came and talked to us, that was something like November, wasn't it? October? November?
That's when they were in to do the audit, yes, sir.
And I don't understand, they seem to be the ones that are holding us up now.
No. Those people haven't got it yet. The consultants, the third party we go through to get the financial reports prepared to submit to the auditors for the publication in the book is what's holding us up right now.
Well, there's certainly more people involved in this than I ever imagined, and I'm wondering how we're ever going to get it turned in by December 31 with the way this is going.
It will be a challenge. It's a challenge Lawton has not met in the past, but it can be done.
But other cities do meet.
Yes, it can be done.
So if someone else can do it, we can do it, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, absolutely.
All right. Give me the 2 target dates to keep on my mind. What is the target date we're hoping for 22 and 23?
Okay. The 22 target date presented to the council by March 31.
23.
The 23 target date to present to council June 30th.
Okay. What's the target date for the next one?
December 31.
And we've got a plan in place to make it happen.
The plan in place is that we will not quit working on audits. Once the team finishes the audit for 23, we're going to be moving, and we get the budget passed, we'll be moving right into the audit for 2024.
Mayor, yes, there is a plan in place.
All right, that's what I wanted to hear. Questions, council? Comments on the audit? Thank you, Joe Don. Bringing up item 41, receive a report from Neighborhood Services, Parks and Recreation, and Public Works regarding mowing improvements and direct staff as deemed appropriate.
Mayor, can I ask that we go out of order here? I was remiss to not call up Garver earlier. They're next, and they've got some traveling they need to do. So if it's okay with council, can we move their agenda item up and then follow up with the mowing plan after that?
Okay, item 42, receive a presentation from ITS regarding the Interactive Citizen Capital Improvement Project Portal. Mary Elizabeth. Judy.
Judy Franco too. She is back right on time.
Bryce.
Okay, so
Bryce has his pen on. Mary Elizabeth's got her pen on. Where's Judy's?
Sorry, it stabbed me earlier. That's how much I love Lawton. I take the pain. Okay, so I just wanted to present to you this for outward facing for our CIP projects. GIS division has been working with Garver endlessly, so we can have something to present to you for the citizens. Okay, so basically this is already currently out on the website. So it's on our homepage. They can go in here. This is what the citizens will see. It comes up with instructions on the left-hand side, gives them how to go through this little dashboard. And then next off, they can, once that goes away, they can actually select whichever project they want to review. So it's just an overview of how they're funded and how much we've spent and what's left in the remaining. So they can go through whichever project's there. And I've listed all the ones that council approved for fiscal year '24. That's all. Any questions? Yes,
Is
it
this up
is.
and ready?
Yes.
Citizens can go click on all these right now?
This is a PowerPoint presentation. So there is a link if you go to lawtonok.gov, and it's on the home page, and it's there so you can click on the link and you can actually see this and go through it.
And
It's going to say Citizen Interactive Citizens CIP Portal.
okay, so so does this list keep going down below where I can see?
Yes, it does.
Okay, how many projects it got on it?
Quite a few. The numbers started blurring after a while, so quite a few. And as you can see on this screenshot, it says TBD, because that was more than likely approved, but it just hasn't quite yet started. You'll have some statuses.
Right there?
No, you go further up.
Civic Access Portal? No?
Yeah, no, you went too far.
GIS.
Oh, no.
Citizen CIP. So, and then the ones that are in there that are future projects, they will show in their future projects.
So you know there's four times as many as we see right here.
Yes, this is a screenshot, yes.
And more will continue to be added as well.
Say again?
More will continue to be added. So what Judy's focused on with the Munis, so that this is pulling information from Munis. We focused on the projects that are current and ongoing right now, but we will begin to add things even as we move forward.
All right, so this is where the people that want to watch the money go.
That's right. Yes.
Right.
Exactly, yes.
Now, and I showed Caitlin another city's website that has their list of projects on a different page with pictures so people can see what's going on. And I hope we'll consider that too. I'll be happy to show you. I think.
Yes,
well,
we're on the same page. I'm with you on that one.
Okay, good.
I like that too.
All right.
I saw
Very
that.
good. Okay, well, I'm happy. This is up. We're good.
Yes.
Okay?
That's
All
it.
right. Thank you.
Mayor, I would like to add that council directed that the portal be up by this date.
Oh.
Back in December, and I really want to commend Judy and our Garver support team and everybody for making it happen.
All right.
Yeah, so.
All right,
We're
thank
excited
you.
about
Here,
it.
we'll give you a round of applause. Judy did it. Okay. The council, did y'all have any questions?
Now, the next thing,
Okay.
Even more in 24, remember?
Yes.
Anybody else? Okay. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you. Thank you all.
Now you want to go back to 41?
And thank
Receiver
you for
report.
allowing us to go a little early. We greatly appreciate that too.
Say again. I can't.
Mayor, I just wanted to say thank you for allowing us to go out of order. I appreciate the consideration there. Happy to do so. Happy to do so. But thank you.
Number 41, receiver report from Neighborhood Services, Parks and Recreation, and Public Works regarding mowing improvements and direct staff as deemed appropriate. Larry Parks.
All right. Good afternoon, Mr. Mayor, City Council. You should have some agenda, hard copies. If not, please let me know. Because the agenda in the deck is nothing more than the sequence of brief, or the sequence of briefers by staff. So, in collaboration with two of our peers, we decided to look at the comprehensive mowing plan for the city. Under agenda, we docketed personnel, areas of responsibility, active contracts, challenges and external directive, peer cities, our surge plan, and of course, recommendations to proceed ahead. Thank you. Under agenda, again, go right ahead. Parks and Recreation, Drainage and Maintenance, and Neighborhood Services. Next slide, please. Under Parks and Recreation, we have a total of 18 full-time employees. Of that, we have broken them down into 4 teams consisting of 4 employees and 2 supervisors, or actually 1 supervisor and a park specialist. They are responsible for all the assigned parks and open spaces. They install, maintain, and repair park equipment. They also help with the aesthetics and the standards of mowing, and event prep and support, as you well know. So those 4 crews, next slide, work in 4 zones. As you can see on the slide, you got 4 different colors, 4 zones. Starting with the far right quadrant, upper right quadrant of the slide, the green, that would be our first team and of course our first zone. And as you move over to the left, you have zone 2 down at the bottom in the black and 3 up top in the gold, and far left in the red is zone 4. I mean, correction, yes, zone 4. As you could see, this brief was put together to try to improve efficiencies and increase production. So as you can see right there, we have 16 cuts per year biweekly to include some pre and post-emergent weed control. Now, in keeping with the motto of doing even more in '24, we plan to increase those cuts, sir, to a total of at least 18 to 22 during peak times of the year, early, late spring, and early summer. Next slide, please. Active contracts right now. We do have an active contract that's good through May of '24. You can see the total. It is an indefinite delivery, indefinite quantity contract, which means we can get as many cuts as we want for the 8-month period, and we plan on doing so. These contracts include trash and litter, sidewalks, shrubs, trees, edging, trimming, and of course the scope of work and quality assurance is monitored by us daily. This is not the park crew, this is contracted labor. Next slide. Our challenges remain the same. Weather, Mother Nature always gets a vote. Event prep and support, those are really external directives. So many times we go to a swing shift or we do overtime to get the grass cut, but we're going to make sure it happens as usual. And additional areas that we adopt outside of Park and Rec and to include parking lots and things of that nature. If it belongs to the city and it needs to get cut, we cut it. Next slide. Pierce City Breakout, sir. Council, you can see right here the 2 biggest brokers, again, Norman and Broken Arrow. Very well staffed. And to be quite frankly, we cut a little bit more. They have a lot of contracted stuff. And a lot of their duties are contracted out also. Not depicted on the slide, but I did make the phone calls. Midwest City, Edmond, no reply. Next slide. Surge and emergency. Surge and emergency. Again, it remains the same. We expect to meet the needs of the city at all costs. That includes personnel and assisting other directorates. Next slide. Our recommendations, again, right up front, the biggest is, and we are actually working on it right now to get rid of surplus parks or surplus facilities. We are working right now to do so. Moving forward, we continue to evolve all current contracts. Again, we will move forward into capital improvements. You see irrigation on there. That'll be one of our next, hopefully, improvements capitally to do that. Following any questions, I'm going to be followed by drainage and maintenance, please.
Okay.
No question?
But one thing I would say is we've always, it sounds like you've got a plan,
Yes, sir.
but we've always in the spring gotten behind, but it
Yes, sir.
sounds like you've got a plan to
Yes, sir.
alleviate that.
More cuts.
Awesome.
More cuts. More in '24, sir.
Right, thank you.
Good afternoon, Mayor and
Good
Council.
afternoon.
So this part of it is going to be for the drainage maintenance mowing. We have 9 full-time employees, and we try to work with 2 to 5 seasonal or temp employees for the mowing season of April through September. However, mowing is not the only responsibility that these employees do. We have 6 employees that handle most of the mowing duties, but then we also inspect and maintain 216 miles of natural, and improved ditches. We also maintain and clean 680 storm drain inlets once a quarter, along with after a 1 inch or more rain within a 24-hour period. And then we are also applying 70 acres of herbicide to the drainage areas. So on this map, you cannot see it very well, but it does represent the 453 acres of mowing that is spread between 157 locations that is maintained by the drainage maintenance. On this map, the purple is performed by tractor mowers, the pink is the hand crew, and the yellow is the combination of tractors and hand crew. The tractor mowers, they currently use 2 tractors with a rear deck and then 2 tractors with a triple deck system to cut the large drainage areas. And the hand crew uses 3 walk-behind mowers, 1 zero-turn mower, and 6 string trimmers, and that they mow their areas 3 times a year. The crews work systematically across the city, and as soon as they finish with one area, they will start back over from the beginning. They are constantly trying to mow and keep up with this. So some of the challenges that we run into every mowing season, the biggest one is weather. The more it rains, the faster the grass grows. However, the drainage maintenance crews cannot get in there and mow right away. And that is one of the reasons that we sometimes get behind, that these drainage areas are designed for the water to flow through and that it remains in these areas and it stays saturated for extended periods of times. We also have to worry about the terrain. These crews are mowing on steep slopes and that they're also having to cross back and forth through the creek banks. Drainage maintenance is the only division in the city with these types of large mowers. So whenever the equipment breaks down, we do not have anything in reserve. Personnel shortage, that relates to the availability of contract or temp laborers that we use. We currently have a contract with Express Personnel. Sometimes the hiring agency doesn't quite explain to the individuals what their duties are going to be, and they don't always show up the second day. We also run into an availability issue where there's not a lot of people who are wanting to do this type of work. I don't understand, but they just don't like walking behind the mower in the drainage ditches all day. And then this is one of the reasons why we fluctuate between 2 to 5 contract or seasonal workers. Another factor that affects the mowing frequency is other drainage projects. Like I said in the beginning, these guys are not just mowing. After a rain event, they have to go out and remove the debris that is in the catch basins, and that they also have to go and clear any channel blockages, and this is to prevent future flooding. The crews are also responsible for large construction projects and emergency pipe repairs. Last year, during the mowing season, they installed 21 sections of 3 foot by 3 foot by 8 foot concrete box pipes. And this was there at the Bishop Road project. And then they also replaced 18 20-foot sections of 30-inch pipe at a depth of 20 foot at the golf course. And these were emergency repairs that had to be done right away. and that took us away from some of our mowing responsibilities. We contacted our peer cities, and at the time that this slide was prepared, only 2 of them had responded to us. Enid, they mow about 55 acres per person. Norman is 8.5 acres per person, and Lawton is doing 75.5 acres per person. So, some of the recommendations in the spirit of doing more in 2024, Drainage Maintenance Division wants to increase the mowing frequency from twice a year during the growing season to at least 4 times and potentially once a month. To achieve this goal, additional employees are requested. 4 operators would be needed for the large tractor mowers, and an additional 5 laborers would be needed for the hand crew. A suggestion is to consider using seasonal laborers to supplement with contract laborers for a crew of 10 seasonal workers. Using a seasonal worker rather than a contract worker is a slight savings, but the biggest benefit to using a seasonal worker would be that they can drive the city-owned equipment. Additional equipment would be needed for these employees. And we would also like to increase our overtime budget from $4,000 to $10,000, and this can aid with increasing our mowing frequency. Last year, the 6 employees that are responsible for the mowing, they would work their regular shift performing the drainage construction projects that I was talking about, and then they would spend 4.5 hours after their shift to do mowing, and that was the overtime that we used. And they would also come in on the weekends to help try to catch up. Using a contractor to assist our crews is an option. Last year, bids were solicited. The first time, no one was interested in helping us with the drainage areas. We did not receive any bids. The second time that it was bid, there was one quote of $60,000 per cut, and then there was another bid for $213,000 per month. This cost is not very feasible for a company to take over all of the drainage mowing responsibilities, but it may be possible for us to get quotes to help with small sections that the hand crew is responsible for. And one of the biggest recommendations is to consider establishing a low mow or no mow zone and increase the education about what the benefits of a little bit longer grass around the streams could be. We would want to use the website and social media to let citizens know where the crews are working. And this will also give them information about when the last time we were there and when we are projected to be in the next area. We also want to establish riparian areas that are susceptible to erosion as low mow zones. These areas allow space for water collection, infiltration, and reduce sediment and nutrients in the water runoff. The pollinator-friendly landscaping, it creates a habitat for birds, butterflies, and native plants. It's also a money savings because you're not going to be mowing that area as frequently. We would install educational signage to help the people understand why the low mow area is a positive landscape. The Department of Transportation has established some of these along Rogers Lane and along the I-44 ramps. And that's it.
Go ahead.
I was just going to add what Cynthia is talking about is becoming increasingly popular in communities throughout the country. These low mow and no mow areas to kind of return things to natural habitat. It saves money. It's also good for the ecosystem. So there's a lot of ancillary benefits to that.
And this is where we have the wildflower signs?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Can you go back to that slide where it showed Norman only had 51 acres of stormwater mowing? $130,000 people It's hard to believe they only have 51 acres of stormwater monitoring. I'd want to find out what they've done. Is it this low mow stuff?
I am not sure. I am not the one who prepared that information, but I can bring it back to you.
I'd love to know that. And I have a question about your equipment. Do we buy, sometimes well-intentioned buying lower cost equipment, cost efficiency? Do we take that into account when we're buying equipment, and do we have the most, I don't know what to say, but efficient equipment that we can buy?
We definitely buy for the application that we are using it for. We want to make sure that we have robust equipment that's not going to be tearing up right away. And our staff does a very good job of maintaining our equipment so that we can get the most out of the useful life.
And Larry, I'd have that question for you as well. Are we buying the equipment that gives our citizens the most efficiency in our mowing projects?
We are, sir. We certainly could use a few more items, but.
Okay.
Larry, I think Parks and Rec got a few, what are they, the zero turn?
26, sir, yes.
Yeah, 26
Yes,
last fiscal year.
Yes.
So,
Okay.
yeah.
All right.
And those are top of the line.
Mr. Harris.
So I know the state of Oklahoma, every year up and down I-44 and other highways, they have some sort of a herbicide that they spray that slows down the growth. And I remember looking it up once. I don't remember exactly what it's called, but I know that they have a product that they can spray on, and they only have to mow seems like a couple times a year.
So drainage maintenance does apply a herbicide to the 70 acres that the hand crew is responsible for.
Now, is that Roundup, or is that something as I just described?
I am not sure the exact application that they use.
Yeah, because it's me, I'm just rounding it up and, done with it, but even that grows back.
Good afternoon, City Council. I'm Jose Ramirez. I'm the Drainage Maintenance Superintendent. On the herbicide, we spray an aquatic herbicide. We have to spray an aquatic herbicide, which is Roundup Custom, and it's have a surfactant of Aquakin that we put out there. The reason for that is because this lets us spray it without harming the fish, the wildlife in the waterways. If we have a runoff, we're not going to hurt anything downstream.
But have you heard of this other herbicide that just allows the grass to grow, but at a slower rate?
Yes, but we can't use it because it's not an aquatic friendly.
Okay, I got you. Thanks.
Okay, and you're happy with the equipment we've got you?
The equipment
We're giving
have-
you the tools to do the job we expect?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Right now, we're running John Deere mowers with triple decks, flail mowers. Each flail mower, it's a triple deck. Each deck has 96 blades on it. We can make it look like a golf course if we have the right blades for it. Our two smaller mowers was our Kubotas M6060s have rear decks, also flail mowers, and those also have 96 blades on there. A lot of times we get comments on when we go through a ditch, why don't we have a pile of grass there? It's because the grass is constantly being cut as we go through there. These vehicles are all four-wheel drive, all-wheel drive, and like Ms. Cynthia said, we don't mow on even ground. We mow in angles. We are sometimes up to a 45-degree angle going across a dam or something like that.
All right.
So, yes, I'm pretty happy with it.
Okay, thank you. That sounds like even more than 24. Okay, very good. Now we got Josh. Josh, are you the new director?
I am the new supervisor.
New supervisor?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Well, we appreciate that, and you did a good job earlier on the D&Ds. What have you got to tell us now?
I appreciate it. I'll get better when time, as time comes. But so the neighborhood services, the personnel summary, we do have 5 code enforcement officers. Right now, currently 3 contractors for abatement of our private properties. Responsibilities, of course, are code enforcement, manage and abate contracts for our private properties. You want me to do it? Go for it. I can do it. I appreciate it. Right now, this is our this is our pretty much our zones of all 5 of our code enforcement officers. As you see, there's quite a few of them that do cover quite big areas, so it's not every week or whatnot that they're in the same area. What we are looking for are our active contracts. We do have, like I said, 3 current contractors. We are looking to add 2 more. Our challenges for mowing, of course, is going to be availability of qualified and equipped contractors. We, of course, get some that just don't work out for us. Our peer city comparisons, mainly did this to show that adding on more code enforcement officers for us would make a big difference. As you see, you've got places like Midwest City who currently have 8 and we're at 5. And you can see the square mileage is quite a bit different as well. So they're able to pretty much stay in a smaller area and, able to do what they need to do without traveling all across the town. Right here we have a map that shows that if we did add 2 more code enforcement officers, as you see, those areas do get smaller and, allows for our code enforcement officers to, like I said, stay in that one area and be more on top of it. So, like I said, we're not going across town trying to cover another area as well. We can be more on top of things. Any questions?
So I do have some questions. And I was in November, I was at Oklahoma Municipal Contractors Luncheon, and Oklahoma City made a presentation, and they were holding classes to teach smaller contractors how to bid with the city. Have we considered that to try to get more contractors, especially in the areas that we're having problems in, such as mowing?
I haven't heard of anything like that. Have you?
Mayor, it's my understanding that we use BidSync to advertise some of these areas. So that's a statewide database.
That is correct.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
So I will say this, I talked to one smaller contractor that didn't understand BidSync, and I think that was one of the things Oklahoma City was saying. You had to get them to the point that they could understand what you're using or they wouldn't bid on your stuff. They'd just give up. So they were holding classes to teach them how to bid on city stuff.
So the one thing that we can do to help with the contractors when they do a BidSync, we can do a, Joe Don, help me out here. Before they actually make a bid to the contract, we can have an open meeting with the people that are interested in bidding the contract. Because that is one thing that we can teach them of what we're looking for, how we're looking for the job that needs to be done. Am I correct on that?
Yes, you're correct, and I think you've been working with Colby Garrett to get these classes put
Correct.
together so that we can start teaching people how the benefits of the BidSync program.
Okay. Okay, so we're gonna, are you telling me we're gonna start doing that?
Yes, sir.
Okay, and that's already started?
Yes, sir. So we do have an active bidding going on right now. Nobody, not for the bidding, but we do have a contract opening so we can get more contractors in here so we can help with the mowing, so we can get more done in 24. Because like Josh said, we only have 3 active contractors as of right now. So we're looking at least adding on 2 additional contractors so we can get more areas done in a timely manner.
And can we do a big push inviting them to this meeting? So
Absolutely.
Maybe they can? All right.
Absolutely.
Next thing is a comment, and I feel like you need 4 more, not 2 more, neighborhood superintendents, or you call them CEOs, right?
Code enforcement CEOs, yes, sir.
I feel like you need 4, not 2. Now, ultimately, you might need 2, but I think we're so far behind you need 4. And through attrition, you could trim it back down to the 2 over time. But we've got to clean the town up. Neighborhood services is so important to our city. I really feel like we need to try to find a way. I realize it's money and the city manager's over there thinking, what is he saying? But he's the one that has to figure out how to divide it all up. But I really feel like you're not going to be staffed until you have 4 more to get things caught up, and then maybe you can drop back 2.
Well, I was thinking, I'm not sure, and I haven't talked with John or anybody about it, but if we were able to bring in some part-timers during the growing season to, widen our Midwest City actually does that. They bring in part-time or seasonal employees, so that way during their growing seasons, they can have more code enforcement officers. Only bad thing is, yes, they still have to go to Oklahoma City to be certified, but if that helps out the city, I think it's well worth it.
Okay. Council?
Mr. Mayor.
Yes, Mr. Harris.
John, I'm going to address this to you because I think you and I had several conversations last year. So compared to our peer cities, we've done almost 60% more abatements under the peer city comparisons. And we had 30% more letters sent out. Was that all mowing, or is that include the bulk trash issues that we've had?
So that includes everything. Unfortunately, our system is for abatements when we put them out there. It doesn't separate the grass and the mowing as well.
So at
but
times,
this is also for everybody in the state. All their stuff is also combined as well.
And so last year you told me there were at times we were 90 days behind, or?
We were never 90 days, but I want to say we were at one point 60 days behind.
60 days behind. So we literally could not mow them fast enough because we didn't have enough contractors.
Yes, sir, because we had 3. Now, we did bring on 2 other ones towards the middle of summer, but unfortunately they didn't work out with the city because they didn't really understand the scope after we kept telling them about it. So we're back down currently right now to 3.
Right. And so one of the things I thought we did do is we authorized the ones that we had to work overtime on weekends and get overtime pay. We're going to do that again.
So it's actually in their contract where they can work over the weekends. So we didn't have to worry about overtime pay.
So that helped a bunch at the time, did it not?
It did.
So why do we have 60% more? Is this an education issue with the citizens, or is it just flat stubbornness from old white guys like me that don't like to obey rules?
We do need to educate, I believe, the citizens a little bit more about what is allowed and what isn't to code, about like how tall the grass can be, because if it's over 12 inches, it's out of, compliance. And I mean, about their other things as well. So it would be a better thing for us to educate the citizens.
Okay, because I know you've sent me plenty of letters, but it just frustrates me as I drove through my ward. And Josh, I sent you some stuff a couple weeks ago. I mean, it was 3 weeks before my bulk pickup, and my own neighbors have stuff out already, and I'm just like going. So we do need to do more in the education part, but I also think so what I don't understand is the delay between the problem being identified and the problem being abated. Could you explain that process to us?
Yes, sir. So we have 5 code enforcement officers throughout the city that are actively basically patrolling their areas. Last time I checked with them and everything like that, we were able to get in their area once a month completely, where we can send out notices to everybody, and we're hitting a property once a month. Because of the size of the areas that the code enforcement officers are. So once they have something that or once they have a property that is in violation with tall grass and weeds, we do send out a letter of notice. With this new system that we have now with the Tyler system, it's either the next day, not the same day. It's either the same day or the next day that we actually send out that letter to the property owner, firm mail. So it gives them 10 days from when we send out the letter that they need to mow their grass. After the 10 days, on the 11th day, we go out there and re-inspect the property, and if it's still in violation, that's when we come back into our system and put in that we need to abatement, and that's when we start the abatement process to send it to a contractor to have it abated.
And that takes how long? Usually from the time you give it to them till the time they get it done?
Hopefully it's about a week.
Okay, so let's switch focus to the bulk trash now that we've said, okay, we're going to, if you put your stuff out too early, we're going to pick it up and charge you. What's the time frame on that?
So they have 24 hours to move their stuff. If they don't move it within 24 hours, we go back out there. So if we notice it on a Monday, we tag the house, we leave a little door knocker, and let them know that they are out of compliance with the bulk waste pickup. The next day, if it's still out there, we basically contact the contractor, and the contractor is usually out there on the third day.
Thank you for that clarification. I appreciate it. I was confused.
Yes, sir.
And John, for the benefit of council, I think the rules are a little bit different for public right-of-way. I know that issue came up last year, so can you talk through that as well as far as the timelines are concerned?
So are you talking about for the, oh my goodness, sorry, sir. For the 9 feet. 9 feet from in front of the house.
Yes, yes.
So on that right there, that's going to be an emergency because that is in the city easement, the public right of way. So what we do is, like you said, that's an emergency. So we go out there, give them 24 hours. We make sure that we leave a door knocker because we are able to leave a 24-hour notice since it is in a right of way to get that abated and get that taken care of.
And that is approximately 9 feet from the curb.
From the back of the curb, correct.
From the back of the curb in. So, okay, good. That's good to know.
Yes, sir.
Everybody good? I got one more.
Yes, sir.
This chart right here is just going to make the city manager sweat a little bit. So when I look at Midwest City and they have 8, now we don't have 81 square miles. That includes Fort Sill. We don't serve Fort Sill.
So this is actually the number that we got from, I believe our 911 is what we got from this. So that's the reason why we have 81, and that's also what the other cities were using as well.
Okay, but if you take the population of Midwest City is 58,000, we're about 30% more that live off of Fort Sill. And I think that would be comparable. Midwest City is a military town. And I'm not sure that my number of 4 more is right, but I do think it's better than 2.
Yes, sir.
And we got to do something to clean up this town. I get complaints on the way our neighborhoods look all the time, and I know you guys are working hard. I know that, and I appreciate you. And I also know what you have is a hard job. You're so important to the city, and city manager, I'd really like to see us try to figure out how to get these guys better staffed if possible, and clean up our town. I don't have any direction that I want to give. This is an action item. Does anybody want to give direction, make motions? Ms. Hankins.
Once again, we've got to get word out to the citizens. We cannot do it. It is not up to the people on the dais to do that. I mean, we've got to say each one of you need to take pride in your place, and I know sometimes you don't have enough money. I've been there, and but you know, look for ways to get it done, because there are ways to get it done, but we need our citizens helping.
And a fair warning. Did anybody have anything they want to say before I give fair warning? I'm putting on the agenda for the next meeting to bring a plan to double our D&D efforts. Okay?
Mr. Mayor?
All right. Sir. Yes.
John, Josh, I just wanted to say, on behalf of myself and the council, we realize how hard your job is and how hard it is to recruit the people that you need. I think you're doing a fantastic job. I appreciate all the time you spent with me in the last couple of years helping me understand that. I think you're doing great. I know your job's hard. We're all for you. Please tell us what tools you need so we can get those for you.
Absolutely. Thanks, sir.
Just remember this, even more in 24.
Yes, sir.
You guys are awesome, and I appreciate all of you very much. And I was really expecting a few more sound bites from Cynthia than I got, but maybe next time. Thank you, guys. Number 43, receive an update from staff on aquatics program. Mitch.
Good afternoon, Council and Mayor. I'm happy to be back. I know it's not been long since you saw me last, so this will be a short update. I wanted to hit some high points. I left some hard copies of a short slideshow at your desks. Mayor, I'm sorry I didn't have one for you. I miscounted. I apologize, but you'll have mine when we're done. I wanted to hit some high points, including municipal pool, wading pools, splash pads, and staffing. And those are all our current existing facilities that I'll be talking about today. So to get us started, municipal pool, looking at the due-outs from last council meeting, we were directed to look at alternate locations that we could potentially relocate the municipal pool to. We've identified 3 locations that we're still evaluating for feasibility. Those include the Owens Center as one possible location, Vernicook Park as another, and then remaining within Matty Beal, maybe not perhaps in the exact same location where it's currently at, but relocating within that park. We were also directed last council meeting to continue researching the pipelining efforts for the municipal pool. To date, the company that we have been working with to research those options has not yet received any affirmative responses from any companies that do pipelining. So we will continue those efforts as best as we can to get that information and report back to council as that information develops. Moving on to our wading pools. We have 3 wading pools within the city. We have already opened POs to clean, sandblast, seal, and paint all 3 of those wading pools in preparation for an opening of the day after Memorial Day. Our operating hours for those facilities will be 1 p.m. to 5 p.m. Monday through Friday. That's carryover from previous years. All of those facilities will be staffed with at least 1 attendant during open hours to make sure that everybody is staying safe and to assist the citizens as they enjoy those facilities. Additionally, we are working with engineers and consultants to identify improvements that can be made to those wading pools. We anticipate that improvements to those wading pools might begin before the end of this current season. On a systematic basis, we'll identify which one we want to go to first, make the updates, and then move on to the next one after that. We have 2 splash pads that will be in operation. Both will be open the day after Memorial Day. Hours of operation at Elmer Thomas Park will be 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. daily, and that was a change that we instituted last year. I think that was a pretty popular change. A lot of people utilized Elmer Thomas Park. It was constantly being used, especially on those nice days where it was really nice and warm and sunny out, and we'd like to continue that. Clement Washington, we're going to expand the hours of operation over what we did last year. Last year, it was only Monday through Friday. We're going to add in Saturday from 1 p.m. to 5 p.m. All of those facilities will be staffed with at least 1 attendant during open hours. And I carried over the improvements from the wading pools onto that slide by mistake. I apologize for that. But we are in the midst of doing preventative maintenance with those facilities and making sure that everything is good to go in anticipation of that open date. Lastly, on this staffing slide, we anticipate a minimum of 6 attendants will be needed to cover all these facilities throughout the season. That estimated staffing cost comes to about $25,500. With the expansion of our hours, that may go up a little bit, but that will be well within our budgeted staffing costs for this season. That's all I had for now. Are there any questions?
2 quick comments. One is, have we checked with peer cities as far as staffing at splash pads? Because I know a lot of the cities that I've been to, they don't staff the splash pads at all.
Yes, we did do that last year in preparation for the season. And the research that we did found that it was kind of split. Those cities that have flow-through splash pads, similar to Elmer Thomas Park, about half of them used staff and about half of them did not. We began last season with Elmer Thomas Park being unstaffed, and we quickly realized that that was probably not a tenable situation. We had other attendant problems such as litter, trash, and parties, those kind of things that kind of killed the mood, for lack of a better word, at Elmer Thomas Park. So We had planned to staff at least one attendant there to make sure that people are following the rules and not littering, not leaving behind massive messes that our parks crews have to then go in and take care of after the fact. Now, on those systems like Clement Washington that are recirculating systems, I always want to see those staffed because you have to monitor the water quality and make sure that it is sanitary. That way, people aren't exposed to unsafe conditions when a kid with a dirty diaper runs over a fountain of water and washes things down into the drain, and then it gets recirculated into the system. So you have to sanitize it. You have to make sure that the water quality is good. So that one will be staffed.
The second comment I would make would be, as far as location of municipal pool, I would hope that we consider the scenario that possibly Councilman Hampton can get some money to rehab the current municipal pool. So I would really encourage staff and everybody else to consider something north of Cash Road, in the Sheridan Road area. I don't know that there's even anything up there, but if we could look up there in that area, and that way, if we were to build a lane pool up there, then when something's decided at Matty Beal, one way or the other, we can do a pool there, and then we'll have the north side and the south side covered. If we do something at, just say, Owens, that pretty much precludes us from doing anything at Matty Beal. So if we were to do something on the north side, then we still have the option to do it either at Owens or at Matty Beal in the future.
I like
just
that.
a thought.
Yes, where are the waiting pools located?
We have one at 35th Division Park. That is at 6th and Columbia, if I'm not mistaken. One at Mosing Park. That is, I forget the cross streets on that one. It's on the south side of town, close to the service yard, not very far away from the service yard for the city. And then one at Harmon Park. And I don't know the streets on that one. I've only been there a couple of times to check that one out. But anybody here help me out on the location for Harmon Park? I forget the cross streets. It's 14th Street, if I'm not mistaken. Is it 14th Street? You don't know? It's right next to the old brick stadium. That
Ron
one.
Stevens?
Yes, yes.
And what's that other park? You said Mosley Park?
Mosing, correct.
Where's that at?
I can tell you how to get there from the Owens Center. You go south on Lee and you turn left on Belmont? Ranch Oaks. It's close to Ranch Oaks. All right. We're going to pull up Google Maps here.
Mitch, 8th and Roosevelt.
8th and Roosevelt.
Thank you. And then I have one other question. Clement Washington, why are we calling that Clement Washington, and it's actually at the park of George?
It's located within George M. Lee Park, but the splash pad itself is designated as Clement Washington Splash Pad.
All right, thank you.
Thank you for the clarification. I appreciate that.
You know what I think of when I think of parks? A community of choice where families thrive. Do you know we can't have a community of choice where families thrive unless we have awesome parks? And what you guys do is so very important. And I've got to tell you, I love this email that I got from some guy named Larry Parks. And what I see in that email is a can-do attitude. And even though, unfortunately, the ball was dropped on the 3 new splash pads, I'm seeing a promise here to open 2 of them this spring or summer. We're going to assume that means early summer.
Yes, sir.
And I'm going to tell you something else I appreciate. I'm not hearing excuses. And let me read the last point of our True North statement. Our pursuit of excellence. In our pursuit of excellence, we seek to set the standard for the state. We will make no excuses or settle for in our pursuit of excellence. And that's what I'm hearing from this department, and I appreciate that very much.
Thank you, sir.
Got a great future ahead of us in our parks, I know we do. Any other comments? With that, I think it's time to go to executive session. Have a motion, do I have a second? We have a second, please call the roll.
Uyghur. Williams.
Yes.
Warren. Hankins. Harris. Chapman.
What is the status on the number of fire hydrants that are out of service? We talked about that one.
They have installed 50 new hydrants in the last 2.5 months.
I know there's one right across from the church on Cash Road, across from not First West, but the Apostolic Church.
Okay.
The fire hydrant right smack dab in front of it still has an out of service sign on it.
Okay.
And the one in front of the golf course next to the apartments on Gore,
Okay.
that one.
And what they're doing is they're prioritizing the ones they're repairing. If there's another hydrant that can service that for the fire department,
Okay.
that's how they're prioritizing. If there's not one, they're putting those in priority and
Okay.
stuff. So that's
Okay.
that's how they're
'Cause
prioritizing.
I was looking at it as, you know, when you have, I think of the location of people, and you got
So,
people there,
like
and you have.
we've got like, there's like, the city owns 5,000 fire hydrants.
Okay.
And there's actually only less than 0.5% of them not functioning. There's not a large number if you look at the big scheme.
Yes,
But,
yes.
but it takes, and really right now through this weather and breaks and stuff, that's keeping them focused. But they have replaced 50 here in the last few months.
Okay.
And
Okay.
they have 75 hydrants in stock now. So
Okay.
it took almost a year to get those hydrants in. So it's and stuff, but they're working on those right there.
Okay.
And,
Okay.
And if they're a hydrant that we have on one of our line replacement projects that we're bidding or fixing to bid, we're leaving it for that project to replace it. So
Gotcha.
that's
Okay.
so that's how they're getting prioritized.
Okay. Okay.
But I'll check into those two and make sure.
Well, my only
when you get a church with a bunch of people, yeah,
That's
I understand.
because if you have a fire,
Oh yeah.
you and I couldn't do enough PR to cover
I know,
that.
I know.
Can I have a motion to come back from executive session? So moved. And a second, please call the roll.
Uyghur. Yes. Williams.
Yes.
Warren. Hankins. Harris. Chapman.
Executive session item number 44, Tim.
Pursuant to Section 307B4, Title 25 Oklahoma Statutes, council convened an executive session to discuss a pending claim action for breach of contract by the City of Lawton against Alfred Espinoza doing business as A&E Construction Company, AEC, as it relates to a potential settlement agreement that was dated June 17, 2019. That conversation did occur and no action is necessary.
Item number 45, Tim.
Pursuant to Section 307B4, Title 25 Oklahoma Statutes, council convened an executive session to discuss a pending damage claim of Jose, and I apologize for name, it's ARCINIEGA, and Dante Guzman. That discussion did occur and no action is necessary.
Item number 46, Tim.
Pursuant to Section 307B4, Title 25 Oklahoma Statutes, council convened an executive session to discuss the pending damage claim of Jody Ann Williams. That conversation occurred and no action is necessary.
Do I have a motion for adjournment? And do I have a second? When I have a second, please call the roll.
Williams. Warren. Hankins. Harris. Chapman. Uyghur.